Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Muscle Mind Podcast. My name is Matthew Foster, joined always with Cody Robinson, and we have again the lovely Rachel Davis. How we doing?
Pretty good. Yeah. Happy to be back.
Still Friday.
Yep.
Getting crazy.
Still Friday.
Ever.
Yes. All right, so we're going to dive really deep into who you are, what you do, where you came from, what makes you tick. So let's start with, you have a PhD. From where'd you go to school?
UAB.
UAB, awesome. And you grew up here in Birmingham?
No, I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Really? Is that the Cincinnati?
Oh man,
ideal?
We need trainers up there, by the way. I'm looking for trainers. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. Okay. Yeah, we're
Lots of Cincinnati connections there.
Oh my gosh! So what are you doing?
Day's made. I just forgot.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you grew up in Cincinnati. And then when did you move to Birmingham?
When I started undergrad, I've been at UAB the entire time.
Wow.
So back in 2009, I came here to run track. Stayed at UAB for my master's as well. So my undergrad was exercise physiology, master's nutrition sciences. I went straight into the doctorate program.
So she's a little smart.
And it's
a lot.
10 years later, I'm out of school.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
awesome.
you.
And you're glad to be out of school, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, just graduated. Very, very happy to be.
When did you graduate?
December.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Fresh out.
Fresh doctor of philosophy.
Yes.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. All right.
Yeah.
So tell us a bit of what you do. What's your day-to-day makeup look like?
Well, now, very, very different from the last several years.
Sure, yeah.
So it's only February, and I'm just,
That is so recent.
adjusting to.
I was at I was probably at a different graduation. My girlfriend just graduated in December with her undergrad. Probably.
Oh,
It was-
the Friday night was the doctorate and
Gotcha.
master's, yeah. But so I started my own business, Fuel by Rachel Davis, and I do fuel coaching for runners. So I basically help runners with their fuel plan during races, half marathon, and then general fueling day-to-day basis. So my days really vary. Get up, my own training.
Early. I see you get up early.
I do get up early.
Yeah. I do. I see you on Instagram.
Yeah, I do get up early, train, usually run or my running workout, get that out of the way. I may have clients that day, I may not. I'm either on the phone with clients or networking stuff with social media, working on my website. I create recipes, post recipes, blogs. I haven't been so good on the blog lately, but
I struggle.
I did.
I'll get there.
I did look at your website at the blog section. Yeah.
yeah, so it's been a very long time since I posted. It's been recipes. Of course, the last 10 months were just a complete dead period with my website because of my dissertation. But so I'm getting back into that, but now my website's up and running for clients to book sessions, and so the days are very different. The one thing that's consistent is my own training. So
Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean,
What's your training consist of? Is it purely running, strength training? Is it high intensity interval training? Do you do any of that other?
it's everything.
Love
so so let's rewind a little bit. So when I came to UAB to run track, I was actually recruited for the 400 hurdles. So it was a sprinter.
I did
in
read that
college.
somewhere. Yep.
Yeah, so sprinter in college, it was great. I had a pretty successful 4 years. After that, I ran post-collegiately, so I basically just kept running on the track as an unattached athlete. Ran the 800 for a couple years, and then I eventually just kind of transitioned up in the distances as my endurance was getting better and better. Ran my first marathon in 2016. Surprised myself and won. And then I've done the last couple Boston marathons and the California International Marathon. So my training,
awesome.
I think most of my days pretty much revolve around my training. I just love it.
Yeah, let me check something.
That's what keeps me going.
Yeah, you got to have a passion for it to do it at that level.
One other question. So without getting too anxious, what's your? You just ran the Mercedes Marathon. You're in Birmingham, right?
Half marathon, yes.
Oh, half marathon. Because I know you're kind of gearing up for the next races. What do you think about the new layout of the course here?
Hilly in the beginning.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It was a tough first, the first 4 miles were pretty challenging. But it was good. It was great weather. And for me right now, I'm just I don't know where I am fitness wise. I'm basically having this massive rebuild just because I ran the California International Marathon in December, but I also defended my dissertation the end of October. So that was, I was
busy time.
maintaining enough, but I was, yeah. I mean, I'm amazed that I went out there and ran CIM. It was great, but I'm very far from my best shape. So I'm kind of just getting back into that, getting into heavy training again. So Mercedes, it was a lot of fun because I haven't done a race like that where I just don't know where I am fitness wise. So it was a lot of fun. Pretty good layout, interesting course, but
Right.
with the construction.
Sure.
What can you do?
That's
Oh,
what I
yeah.
was curious about.
Yeah.
That's why, a lot
Looks
of it had to change.
Looks like Armageddon down there.
It's a mess.
Yeah.
It does.
For the next year.
We
Yeah.
drove down there to go eat last night, and it was pretty intense.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't go down there much, but okay. So, what type of strength training do you do? Like, how many days a week do you do strength training to implement into it?
Ideally,
Ideally,
it's 2 to 3.
Yeah. Compound movements, total body type.
Yeah, pretty much everything. So I come from a very different background than the average distance runner. So I don't do heavy lifting anymore. That's for sure. There's no need for it, but I still like to do the same type of lifts. So I've been told many times that, why are you benching? That doesn't going to do anything for you. But I've always been a well-rounded, strong indivial. So I like to do
pleasing,
squat.
yeah.
I like
Sure.
to bench. I do.
Well, I mean, I was one of your strength coaches.
Yeah.
at UAB.
Yeah, back in the
That's
day.
how we originally met. So I get your philosophy. and
Man,
I see why you do what you do. But
Yeah. So 10 years ago, that's, I guess.
That's
yeah, it's
crazy.
end of an
When
era.
we first-
End of an era for a lot of people.
But yeah, so it was just totally different. So I like to still include a bit of that. I'm not doing it. I'm not looking to max out and gain all this strength. I'm doing it specific for the marathon, but it's just different, more endurance oriented. Some days I'm just doing band work, core work.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll do yoga just because training is really heavy right now.
Yeah.
So,
Active recovery.
so
type
it's
deal.
pretty much my weeks I'm at about 70 miles per week with a couple days of lifting. I really try to get in
with a couple of days of lifting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's very, but I'm approaching the peak of marathon training.
Good
So
grief, dude! I work out 45 minutes a day.
The cross country girls will come in and some of them will do well over 100 miles a week.
yeah.
They're
So
like, we
how
did
do
our
you
11
find-
mile warm up and we're ready to work out now.
So how do you find the balance, the balance of having a social life, of running a business, of being married?
Good question on the social life.
I love these questions. I love learning how people balance because obviously having things at home and then your business you're trying to boost up, and which we'll talk about a little bit. How do you balance that?
So right now I am putting balance first, and I'm very slowly working on things. So the last year to 2 years was very, very stressful, peak stress of my life. My dissertation and I've been working in research for the last 5-6 years, and it was a very heavy previous 2 years. So, and right before that, so the Boston Marathon 2017, I had a really fantastic performance. it was just shocking. Like I had no idea that I would do that well. So after that, I was super excited, so motivated, but I've never been able to balance that or put that kind of focus into training. So since then, I mean, my husband, social life, everything, like, until I graduated, it was absolute insanity.
Yeah.
So I have started my own business, but I am putting my husband, and then training, and then, business, everything else. So it's, I can focus on that right now and just take, I can schedule clients when I want. I can schedule things around when I want.
That's what I was saying. It's good for you because so many people go down one path and they have to try and put the pieces back together.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we were talking about today about how when you and I got together for a little while about how when you're in academia and that type of stuff, there's like, and then even when you're an athlete, a collegiate athlete, how your schedule is kind of regimented for you. And so a lot of times when you come out of that, you're kind of really trying to refine yourself and then like you need some type of tool, which is why I recommended like the full focus planner for you because you and I think very similar.
Pretty dope, it was awesome.
It's amazing.
Because you and I really think very similar as far as like that. Just it empowers you, and then you can see the pieces that need to be balanced. But anyway, I was just kudos to you for doing it that way because we see a lot of other people who jump into if they're going to do a business or whatever and sacrifice all the other and then try and make it work. But if you're acknowledging,
take your time with it. Sounds like you're like just kind of taking.
I'm taking my time. Yeah, I mean there have been some great opportunities in other areas, academia, to continue research. There have been a lot of great opportunities, but for me, I never want to feel as stressed as I did last year.
I don't think you ever will.
The year before. So I mean, really, that's what I'm focusing on. I want to be relaxed and not have such stress and anxiety with work. It's just not, to me, it's not worth it because all other areas of my life fall apart as well. And it's just running also is like that is my thing that keeps me going. Like my training, running is just, I'm happiest when I'm training and getting all of that in. So it's nice to be able to do that again. But also now work with runners. And over the last year, I have an amazing coach. So it's all just worked out. But since graduating, balance. I feel like we're always trying to find that balance that doesn't really exist.
Sure.
Like no one's ever gonna feel like I am.
The blog post today was all about like what's missing and how it doesn't exist. It's a facade as far as balance goes.
It is.
That's great.
But you have to assess these other areas of your life if you're going to have a life that is fulfilled.
Well, I think you should always chase better balance.
Right.
So you should.
Yeah, you should chase it, even though it may not feel.
And saying
fully balanced.
Saying it doesn't exist. I mean, like, you're never going to be in that perfect because I mean,
maybe for 10 minutes.
Chaotic. Yeah.
One day, I can embrace those days.
Right. But the more we strive for that, the more, I mean, we'll be healthier, mentally healthier, everything. Like, that's most important.
And the more you get, the more success you have, the harder it will be.
Well, they always say that happiness comes in the pursuit.
Sure.
That's why it says pursuit of happiness, because it's like, if you achieve a specific goal and you're kind of going, what's next? It's a thing. You're looking for the next thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's the world of running is
for sure.
You're always going towards something.
True.
Always. And I'm certainly type A planner, always thinking about the future. So I think that was difficult for me too during my dissertation, just because I was feling like,
Did you feel confined?
What? Yeah.
Yes.
Like I just really, I mean, we were doing some really cool stuff. I mean, UAB is amazing, but it was very, very taxing on me. So I was kind of in this like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do after, and what is life? But it's funny because it's just kind of worked itself out a little bit.
It usually does.
So I just started focusing more on having less stress in my life, focusing more on the things that I love, and now I'm fortunate enough to be kind of
Sounds like you do what
doing
you
my
want.
dream job.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes. Hey, maybe down the road, you know, maybe I'll end up back in academia. Maybe, who knows what I'll be doing. But for now, I want to see where this goes. And I also do local work with the National Center for Sport Safety. So I get to do some events with them on proper nutrition for youth sport safety and how parents, coaches can kind of utilize that information or convey that to young athletes. So it's fun. I have a lot of different things going on.
Right.
So
That's
one day
awesome.
I may have a couple clients, one day I may have an evening event with NCSS. So or maybe I'm speaking at a running camp or to a cross country team or something. So it's a lot of fun. It's good.
As far as so I've kind of mentioned this before. So and I'm so glad you did. I still think you need to trademark this, by the way. But so you're calling yourself, and you rightfully should, like you are a fuel coach. So of course the phrase the past few years I've heard a lot. It was like fuel with a purpose, or you know, that type of stuff. The fact that you said that's what I do is to optimize people's, you know, intake to be able to perform at their peak level.
Exactly.
How do you think you fell into that niche? Because clearly you excel at that. Like your knowledge base is far above the general population, which is why you are, to me, probably one of the most prime people to reach out to for that.
I appreciate that. No, it's
Very nice, Cody.
yeah, very, very nice.
Finally got it out.
It's well, so for me, I think that we have this skewed view of nutrition. Food, I mean, everything is about losing weight and being thin, and it's just that our society is so focused on that, that can trickle into, I guess, different sports, it can be really dangerous. So I like to focus on the fact that food is fuel. Like, why do we eat? Like, why do we need to eat certain things? So I think switching the view to food is fuel, it kind of changes everything. So it can totally change the mindset, especially for a runner. And the runners that I'm working with, like, they are all, I mean, from beginner all the way up to elite, they care about their performance. They want to get faster. They want to do better in what they're doing. And I'm kind of just teaching how nutrition plays into that. Right. So fuel coaching, literally that is what it is. I'm coaching people on proper fueling. And then in endurance events, especially the marathon, your fuel plan during the race, what you're eating the week up to the race, everything, it's so involved, and it's such a game changer. So if you're not properly fueled beforehand, you're not going to perform well. And
that's a really unique.
That's what
niche.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
so
literally
it
get
just
chill bumps every time I talk about this.
It's like I just kind of found it. I don't know, because nutrition.
No, it sounds like you found it.
That's
I created it. Yeah.
We need to figure out a way to trademark it this week. But.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. But my running, I'm just so passionate about.
Do you do it just for runners?
Right now, yes. I do have a couple triathletes, very new. So endurance.
So definitely endurance.
Yeah, definitely endurance. But that's where.
It makes you nervous?
No, so make some notes.
Oh yeah.
So it's definitely endurance athletes. So that's where I am right now. You know, this is all new, and really that's my area. Most of my doctorate and my master's was focusing on, it's nutrition sciences, but really what that means, it's not learning so much about specific amounts. You know, this is what
it's what your body needs to perform at a high level.
Basically, like nutritional biochemistry was my, like, how your body processes these different things and how it does during different types of exercise.
Is anyone else doing this to the level that
to that capacity?
Right.
No,
not that I'm aware of.
Like for like football players and basketball players.
I mean, you have
baseball
sport dietitians
Yes.
that tailor.
Sports dietitians they're very specific in
To
what
that
they do.
performance.
Yeah.
She
so
thinks on it to the. I'm sorry, but I
No,
get
it's
so
okay.
excited. But she thinks on it to the capacity of like the timing. Like, okay, what mile are they at? Like, what is the body going through? What mentally is the body going through? Too.
Right.
But then also like the peak of training. If you're trying to get like, there's different times to work on speed. There's different times to work on distance. Like
Exactly.
she takes all that in consideration. Where other sports they all have their place, I think, for like feeling whatever, but it's just a different level. I think endurance is totally different.
it's very, very different because the marathon is just such a unique beast that I'm just fascinated by it, because fueling, it's important for everyone in every sport, obviously, but if you're not fueling properly during your race, if you didn't have breakfast or didn't have a specific type of food, or the week before, the weeks leading up to it during training, anything can happen in however many hours it takes you to do it. So it's very it's just really interesting. So ever since I started marathoning, I was totally fascinated with it, and I'm always focused on my running and improving and reaching my goals, and nutrition is a big part of that.
Yeah.
So I call it fuel coaching, because whereas a sports dietitian is, they are clinically trained, they're prescribing diets, that's their area for sure. I'm kind of coaching these runners on when and how and what types. It's really, we talk through their diet, what they are having. It's about working with them, figuring out what works. We're literally just talking through this, working things out, so they understand what's best for them, because there's so much involved.
Let's take your hardest client, which is yourself, I would think. I think for anybody that's a coach, their hardest client, and
I'm a terrible client,
is for ourselves. But so, if you don't mind me asking, to allude to some of that, because I know everybody's going to be different. It's going to be a lot of it depends if I bring up different topics. But like for yourself, let's just say for now, like, how would you apply like some of your techniques, or like when do you eat certain things, or I don't know, just whatever pops in your head in that capacity. So
since I'm in pretty heavy marathon training right now, I'm eating a lot of carbs, a lot of carbs, but I'm making sure to get enough protein.
What's a lot?
Well, I don't count them, but I
You don't
would
even count macros.
no, not at all.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so I'm very much on how you feel,
Yeah.
listening to your body. Like, there are days when if I have a long run, or like Sunday after Mercedes half, so I had the race 13.1 miles, but I had 18 miles of volume for the day with warm up and cool down, and like I was ravenous the rest of the day. Like, I was so hungry, but I know that I just finished a really high mileage week. My training is increasing. I knew that 2 days later I had another massive workout. Wednesday was like a 15-mile day, and it's just at that I know that I'm not going to deprive myself whatsoever.
Right.
I think deprivation can lead to some issues. So I always focus on, we never eliminate anything. We just can find substitutes, or, fit things in here and there.
So what did you eat? Or just what did
so
you
I eat a lot of sweet potatoes. I eat a lot of sweet potatoes, rice.
Complex carbs.
Yeah, so I certainly enjoy myself. My husband and I love ice cream. We did get ice cream. We went out this week once and got ice cream. Yesterday was Valentine's Day. Definitely had some candy. Like, I love sweets. I'm definitely like a cake and ice cream kind of girl. So I do have that kind of stuff. I just don't have it every night.
Right.
But I'm still eating, pizza. Pizza's a big one, because a lot of people think, oh, well, it's pizza, like that's bad. Well, we're not ordering Domino's or Pizza Hut, or we do on occasion, but if you make a pizza at home, how is that different than making pasta?
Sure.
You know, like spaghetti and meatballs,
Yeah.
we don't look at that as being
Right.
this awful thing, but a lot of times, but that it really does have a great amount of carbohydrates, fats, proteins, you can put whatever you want on it. So we do homemade pizzas. Like tonight, already have it prepped. I'm doing salmon, couscous, salad. So I usually just always make sure there's some sort of grain. I try to fit in as many fruits and veggies as I can. So it's just, I don't really restrict anything.
You don't count calories, you don't do macros,
No,
you go
not
how
at
your
all.
body feels.
Because I'm training so much that I know I'm burning a ton of calories.
right.
And the thing is, when you're in a deficit, if I'm in that deficit for even just a short period of time, I'm burning through my glycogen most days.
Yeah.
So like, especially after a long run, I usually have like, there's a chocolate milk waiting for me immediately. Like that perfect carb to protein ratio. And I'm eating things like pizza, pasta. We do potatoes. It's just, I eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches sometimes. It's just a lot of different things, but oatmeal's a big one. I eat a lot of oatmeal.
Power food.
Yes, I eat a lot of oatmeal. Like my race breakfast, workout breakfast is always bagel, peanut butter, honey, and a banana. Always coffee.
Yes, indeed.
Always coffee. Yeah, that's certainly caffeine is my issue. But yeah, so
Is that kind of what you do with your clients as well?
I take that approach with my clients, yes.
Yeah,
because
that was my next question.
there's no possible way that I can give them
the correct
a specific, like if you want to go get
It's so true.
the most detailed diet analysis with a registered dietitian and then go through all this metabolic testing to actually find out how much you need of what on a daily basis. It's complex. Like
It amazes me.
so I don't do any of that.
Right.
Tell us how you really feel.
We'll talk. That's true, but because I know you see it. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
How many calories do I need to eat? Well, I don't know.
I get that question all the time.
You don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Are you tracking your food? No. Well, then you have no idea where
Yeah.
you need to. I don't know how many calories you need.
Yeah.
It's not. You go
Everyone's
online.
different.
Yeah, you go online and you do the online calculator, your weight, age, whatever, activity level, and it craps out this number. That's like you need to have 1,700 calories to lose a pound. You know?
Yeah.
But
And even when I put, especially with a lot, so yesterday was fantastic. I had a session with, elite marathoner, and he's running over 100 miles a week.
Oh my God.
He's working, married, everything. He's like, well, I just, I kind of have this view, like, I really just need to always be eating. I'm like, you kind of do. I'm like, we just want to optimize what those things are and the fuel, the nutrients that you're getting from it. But so if I were to plug all of his information into the calculator and then you check activity high,
super high.
that's still going to be so far under. That's not a normal person.
Right, I'm high. His is way higher than mine. You
But
know,
even for the kind of stuff that you're probably doing, I bet that's still under what you actually need.
Yeah.
So it's so difficult, and that's why I don't do any of that. And I try to be very upfront with that, because sometimes it is important for someone to know that. Maybe they really want to get into those specifics. Well, there are professionals that can do all of that stuff for you, but with what I'm doing specifically, it just doesn't fit. And if they are going to get that information, I'm not going to estimate anything. They're going to go and actually get the proper testing done to know what they need to do. And that's pretty complicated, but
you gotta have feedback. It's like a lot of things. It's like a lot of these, at least a lot of the ones that start or that come to you, they're running. So you're able to assess, how do you feel at this point? What are you going through? that, and then you can kind of tweak it from that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I love the approach too, because the fact that we look at the behavioral as well. But you were talking about how there's a lot of times that people will come in too. We don't have to go down this route if you don't want to, but like as far as they're trying to do like a restriction and how that can impact, because they're more concerned about maybe aesthetics versus performance, and that's like the first thing it sounds like you really try to attack with people.
Yeah, so I always take the fueling approach to the performance. I don't I never do elimination, restriction. Like it has to be fluid. Proper nutrition has to be you have to be relaxed with it. I mean, being so rigid, it goes to the behavioral side of, we think, we want to be so rigid, but when we have all these factors that are impacting your ability to maintain something like when we're talking about before, like with keto or a specific diet, if we're not talking about performance, there's so many factors that get in the way of that. And it's hard. I mean, I have runners that I work with that have married, jobs, 5 kids. I mean, they're training for marathons, and I mean, like, lots of super moms. And but that's such I mean, it's amazing what they're doing, but we have to figure out what works for them.
Can I touch on this real fast?
Yeah.
You mentioned the mom who's got the 5 kids and grinding and working, and that gets back to some people are just lazy.
I told her a minute ago that sometimes you'll jump on. Yeah,
he was talking about you.
Yeah, people like that, but it's true. We did go out. We people that like that who are training to run a marathon with 5 kids and working 8 to 5 job and busy and husband, and they still find time to do it because they prioritize it and they're not lazy towards it. And then some people,
they're not being true to themselves. This is your quote.
Well, I think it comes down to what's motivating you? Like, okay, forget nutrition. What's fueling you on a daily basis? Sure. I mean, sometimes someone may want to do all of that, but I think there's a lot that probably isn't allowing it. I don't think it's always laziness, because that's an extreme example.
Yeah, I mean, but some people are.
I mean, well, at the end of the day, some people are.
Sure.
That's true, but I mean,
there are other factors.
There are so many.
You just took it from a really cool way of, like, the way that you said what's fueling you.
Yeah.
Like, as a person, like the way you rolled that in from the behavioral component.
It's huge.
Crazy.
There's so much more to fuel coaching.
So there's your fuel for your blog.
It's almost like health.
Yeah.
That approach.
It's a good one. Yeah, exactly.
That's a good one. Yeah.
But really, like, and that's something that I'm working on right now. 2 years ago, I ran just a few minutes sounds like a lot, but it's really not in the marathon. Just a few minutes off of the 2020 Olympic trials qualifying standard. Every moment of, like, after that, I was going to do this. Everything, like, I was eating just to totally fuel my training. I was actually injured at the time. I was working out like crazy on the bike. I was so sad because I couldn't run, but I came back, like, so on fire, faster than I'd ever been, because nothing was going to stop me.
So what do you think?
But a lot's changed since then.
Yeah. What do you think you have that mentality as opposed to someone who gets so defeated by that? Because there's some people that would get so demoralized if that happened, that they would just get down on. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because you flipped it in a different form. That fueled you.
That fueled you. What do you think prevents people from making that switch where that would fuel them?
Yeah. So, like, ones that would just say, I've done as much as I can, apparently. So it's
just like, what do you think, being in that position?
I don't know, priorities. But I mean, priorities, or just if you don't love something.
Yeah.
I mean, to be truly in running, like, for me right now, like, it's been a hard 2 years. I'm finally done with my dissertation. I'm finally finished with my doctorate. Like, I have not been to that place yet. I am trying to get that motivation back, because I know in my heart I want that more than anything. It's just, I've had a lot of stress and exhaustion over the last 2 years, which I think is a perfect example. I mean, like, okay, there's the mom with 5 kids who that's totally fueling her, and that's amazing. But think about, stress is just so crippling, and I think so many people are dealing with so many different things psychologically. Like, for me, that my mind has literally been what has hindered me.
Sure.
So I just had a conversation with my coach today. I'm like, look, like, my heart just isn't in this race. I know physically I'm not going to be ready. I want to take this long process, take my time to get back to where I was 2 years ago, which was my best performance ever.
Because when you're back in love with it, that's when
Exactly.
that's
Like
when
you
you're
have
gonna bust through
to,
it.
I've basically, my switch and that motivation, there were a number of factors that kind of brought that like
Sure, yeah.
crumbling down because I was so stressed and I had so much going on. So it totally depends on the person, what's going on in their lives. For me, I know that like that's in there.
Sure.
I have a lot of rebuilding to do, and it's a day-to-day process, consistency. But if you don't love the process, you're never going to get to the outcome.
And you can't go through it by
So-
yourself, because that's the thing
Yeah.
too. It's like, you have your coaching, but you also have your coach, and your coach is through life.
Yeah.
And then we're coaches in essence in the way that we approach, fitness and behavioral and lifestyle and whatnot. But to Matt's point, talking about if people are lazy, it really to the point of they haven't made the decision to hunt out a coach or to
True.
somebody to help them identify, because you can get inside your own head.
Exactly.
And you can't, it's cluttered. But when you have somebody that's asking you the right questions,
That's exactly why I got a coach.
I think
pulling you out of
everyone
it.
should have a coach.
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
Some kind.
even I could say the most successful people, but even like the general population, the ones who have coaches from different avenues of their life, there's a lot more clarity, there's a lot more happiness.
Yeah.
Because if you get in your own head, and I'm the world's worst at this. I mean, this week for me, I felt so hindered. I feel like there's things that are great transitions that are taking place in my life, but like I wanted them done like last week so I could move past and hammer everything out. So anyway, not quite the same, but
I totally get it though, because that's, for me, running is just so involved in everything that I do. So, and I think mentally, if I'm noticing it most in my running because of the kind of time and focus that requires, but it affects all aspects of life.
Yeah.
Like there's so much that goes into it, and I'm
gets into being
so in my
mentally
head.
tough.
Yeah.
That's what I meant with lazy and mentally tough.
Yeah.
There's two different.
Exactly. And that's like for me right now, that's my weakness. Like when I had Wednesday's workout, I told my coach, I'm like, that was such a beast. Like I ran a half marathon 2 days ago, and now, but in my head, I had to get out of, okay, I should be running these times. I need to be running this pace for the marathon, for the Olympic trials qualifier. Oh my gosh, like I'm so far off. Okay, I could go down that rabbit hole, which I've done a lot of in the last year, and have quit workouts in the middle. Or I can realize, okay, well, this is where I am. I'm going to get better. No matter how slow I am with this, it's about like, this is part of the process.
Right.
So right now for me, like I'm really trying to shift that mindset with everything though. I mean, it applies to every aspect of my life, but with running, if I'm going to get where I want to be, that's something that I have to work on. So
I think it's important for people to hear that.
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's actually where my mind was going too. But the fact of, and I appreciate you being so like open about it, because I think when people are impacted by others who are leaders in their specific fields, when they hear your struggles and that you go through it, which also actually makes you more powerful of a coach. I think people really start to see that they can do it. They can get through
absolutely.
it.
So I like to be open about it because I get a lot of clients through Instagram. The running community is amazing, super positive on Instagram. It's awesome. I've met so many people, worked with a lot of people. I found my coach on Instagram, James McCurdy of McCurdy Trained. Like he started it. He's my coach.
Shout out.
Yeah, I know. Hey, James. No, but like that's how I found my coach. His other coaches within McCurdy Trained, they're athletes. Like I get so many different referrals. It's great. But Instagram and just social media in general makes things look so perfect. Okay, well, if I'm really busy and exhausted and, had a few meltdowns that week because of my dissertation, I'm not gonna be posting because I've been exhausted and crying and so stressed. But you know what? That is what it is. But I think if people actually are open about some of those things, I don't have
people
to.
In.
And it lets people know, like, oh, well, that person's human.
Right.
There are people on Instagram that I look up to and amazing runners, and it's amazing seeing them succeed and like what they're doing and how hard they're working. But I think it's also really important that when you're coaching people or helping others or trying to motivate others, nothing is easy.
Right.
I mean, it's
Nothing worth,
Yeah.
nothing worth,
right. Yeah.
achieving
And
is easy.
life stuff happens.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that's something I mean, nutrition, we can't be perfect with anything. It doesn't
Yeah.
exist. But I think it's important that and people know that and take that approach with everything, because you really you have to keep fueling everything.
Wear it out.
For me, really the last year and a half has been the hardest thing. But now I'm kind of like, okay, I'm refocusing. Now
Yeah.
I'm done with that period of my life. I now am taking a better approach with things because I don't want to be that stressed again. And I think people
You're mentally
can,
tough.
I'm trying to get there. Yes.
But the
I was very
You got
much.
your
But the
PhD
way,
and you're like,
but the way people get through it is by
Exactly.
going through these things, and so
Yeah.
you're already only 2 to 3 months out. You're already seeing
I already have
the
an established
benefits.
business too.
right.
Already.
Yeah.
So
but
it's
but you're
been-
seeing the benefits that now that you can pour into more people, which is I think is
And also, I think that how I work with people, the fact that I'm using my nutrition expertise, my running, that whole area bundled up together, I don't think this would not be happening right now if I didn't go through that really hard time at the end
Right.
of my doctorate. I mean, I was like, what am I gonna do? I mean, I just didn't know what I wanted, and I just tried to listen to myself a little bit more and like, what is actually going on here? And I didn't know what I was passionate about anymore.
Right.
And somehow along the way, I
Always
bridged
works out.
that gap, and now I'm able to help other people in those same situations. I have a lot of runners we talk through. There may be some really stressful things going on, and they can't do these specific things. There isn't a perfect formula. We all have different things. And we'll kind of talk through that and how we can balance certain things with nutrition around those lifestyle factors. So I think it's so important. So I don't know, it's without getting really deep, I already did. Really, like it's been, I think it's so important. And for people to see that, like,
Yeah.
that's who I am. I can't give you this formula for you to have this amazing outcome. Like there's so much more to it.
I think that's really important for people to listen.
Yeah.
Because we have we have a lot of trainers that listen to our show, and I get asked often, I'm sure you do too, how do I build a better business?
yeah.
And a lot of times it's what you just mentioned is what they're lacking. How you deal with people, your passion that you have,
Yeah.
what you have to go through to get where you are right now. How do you improve it? Are you thinking about what you need to do to improve it instead of just waiting for it to happen?
Yeah.
Being mentally tough, not being lazy, and going to get what you want. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Which sounds exactly like that's what you did. With
And that's why
a few
it's-
speed bumps, but you kept going.
exactly. And it's just so funny because running like perfectly aligns with that.
That's the
in life.
parallels of things.
Yeah,
Especially
it's-
when you get into business, the more deeper you get into business, you'll start to see the parallels of running,
Yeah.
the parallels of life. I see a lot of parallels in fitness and golf, believe it or not. Golf is actually a very good parallel with a lot of things too. It's a whole other book.
I still
Whole
think,
other book.
I still think we need to do golf coaching, but
I do too. But anyway, sorry, I mean to divert from that. But
Oh, no, that's
but yeah,
great.
there's a lot of parallels and there's a lot of struggles. It's messy, but if you can pull it all together,
But at the end of the day, it takes consistency, and you've got like you have to keep stress under control. You have to give yourself time to rest. That is one thing that
I don't do
learned.
enough of that.
Yeah, I mean, when I was just so busy, like I was so busy and stressed and working crazy on my research, and I was exhausted, but I stopped sleeping. Like it was, I mean, to a certain extent, like it's way too much. And like, I love this, I don't know the exact quote, but it's something that's gone around social media, like something about like, it's something with hustling, how everything now is always like hustle, you know, hustle hard, work hard, play hard, all that stuff. But it was something alluding to like, well, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't actually take time for yourself and rest.
Right.
Like shut down.
It's so true though.
Every now and then. And for me, that's what I've learned. I'm like, okay, I cannot do everything.
Well, I think, going back to Michael Hyatt, but they call it the hustle fallacy. They actually talked about it at the Best Year Ever conference. It was one of the first things they talked about. Elon Musk, for example, because he was a grinder and he needed a couch so he could just take a quick nap and do stuff at work. And then like when they talked about him being on Joe Rogan's podcast, smoking weed and talking about that, and it's like clearly it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to flip my thoughts of like play hard, rest hard. I think if you adapt that mentality, you're gonna be happier for one. Your body and your brain's going to respond better. Clarity's going to come in, and that's what I've struggled with this week too. One of the reasons I've struggled with stuff is because I haven't rested. I've been just mainly concerned about business stuff versus letting
water, because I didn't this week either.
Yeah, like
I wasn't focused on the other important areas in my life. I was really kind of one lane this week.
But those things happen. I think people think that they don't happen.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who you are. I mean, Elon Musk has problems.
Yeah.
Bill Gates has problems.
Yeah.
Everyone
has bad
has
weeks.
problems.
Just like even the runners that you said you look up to. I mean, it's what I love is like when you meet somebody in person and have a quick conversation about them, and then they're telling you about their struggles. Like, I just hit a wall last week, or just this stuff, and it's but it's how you react, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
How you react to it is the number one most important.
Mentally tough.
And then how and how quick you can bounce back from it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, I think knowing, okay, it's going to be hard. There are going to be times where there are going to be really hard times, but I think just kind of, accepting that.
Yeah.
How am I going to react? How am I going to, for me, it's managed, like I just totally stress myself out with a lot of things, and it's how do I react to certain things?
Sure.
Keeping that stress down. For me, that's absolutely critical. So, I think everybody deals with it. It's
I mean, talking about like working hard and grind hard and all that kind of stuff. I think a lot of it's grinding or working hard in the wrong areas instead of kind of focusing and working smarter.
Yeah.
And kind of how you were like doing all the school stuff, and then now you're able to kind of work smarter in certain little areas, and then instead of being so micro focused on
exactly
burning yourself out. And
yes, and I think. At least in my experience, I think when you reach burnout, you never want to be burned out again. So I don't want to burn out on.
When that happens, you also kind of like tiptoe to make sure you don't do that.
Yeah, that's where you
some kind of like psychological.
Exactly, like that's exactly where I am with it's same thing. Talking to my coach today, I'm like, look, I think we should focus here. Like, let's run some 5Ks and 10Ks, like really just hard, faster efforts. I'm like, I need to be okay with hurting again, because it's like I'm tiptoeing. Like I can handle marathon pace all day, and then we have this speed side that it's like I'm afraid or holding back a little bit, but that's part of this,
But it's okay. I was burned out about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you either ease your way back into it or you fall off. You pick.
There's a reason too.
And sometimes you're gonna fall off, and that's okay. Pick yourself back up.
Some people get wiser about it. Whatever. It's just life. I mean, the more times that you allow yourself to do it, the stronger you get, and in the higher risk you end up taking too.
Sure.
It might take a little time to get back to it, but
absolutely,
you're going to get back to it.
Yeah, I mean, it will take time, and I think it's just really important to know that. I mean, we all want things to happen quickly. We all want instant gratification.
Especially these days.
Yeah, but it's just not. This is not realistic, and that's also why. So with my clients, I could be doing all these other things to be packing my days with sessions with clients and scheduling all these different events, and that would be fantastic, but that's not good for me right now because I don't want to I know there's something here and I'm going to keep going in that direction, but at the end of the day, I'm going to protect myself first and make sure I'm, still home with Devin and we're spending time together. We're both really busy. He teaches and coaches, and it's, again, what's important, what fuels you every day, what, makes you, I guess, feel good. And for me, that's like family first and running and
Well, you're not going to be an effective coach either if you're burnout. I mean, you're not going to be impacting the people the way that
We
you
talked
want.
about that too.
You know, it's like about training.
From
and
like a
stuff.
trainer
Yeah.
aspect.
Yeah.
If you get burnout training, your clients will know.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Your
You gotta
demeanor's
take care of
different.
yourself first.
Yeah.
I mean, truly, if you have to take care of yourself to be able to take care of others.
Well, even like you know, you're saying you could be booking out all these things, and you know, now in 2019, everyone wants to start a business and have a successful business, and they rush into it, and now they're all of a sudden get packed up with 12-hour days.
Yeah.
And then a month later, you have all these commitments that you've committed to, and you're just exhausted.
Yeah. I'm 6.5 years in, and
Yeah.
just now feel like I'm starting to see things a little bit better, but
Yeah.
still hitting. You know, he's still hitting. You know, new.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I changed my mentality whenever I moved here to Birmingham
Yeah.
a little over a year ago. It was ease into it and quality over quantity, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
You hear that, but I mean, you know, it doesn't mean anything until you go through it.
Yeah.
If you go through it, you're like,
Exactly.
oh shit, you know, like, it doesn't have to always be like this.
Yes.
So thinking through your clients, I don't want to keep you much longer because I know you got things to do. You're super busy. But like thinking through your clients, like what's a kind of a unique scenario that you've gone through as of late? I don't really know. I'm trying to ask in specific. It's like maybe it's kind of throwing you off a little bit as far as when you're trying to coach them. Just or something that pops into your head specific.
Well, I think, I don't know if this answers that question, but I think one thing that's challenging with it is that it's all those other lifestyle factors that are involved.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to really be as, I guess, effective or provide the best information for it to be really effective for them.
Yeah.
Because day to day, there are just so many different things.
Right.
That,
In between coaching sessions, it's gonna
exactly.
there's no telling
Yeah.
what's gonna happen between.
So
them.
it's I mean, but I think that's a challenge for anything.
Yeah.
Same thing with what you guys do. Any coach, anyone who's helping anyone in any way, I think is gonna struggle with that. But I wouldn't say there's a specific like
Sure.
situation
Yeah.
that's come up because pretty much all of my clients kind of have the same goal.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's, I don't know, I think that would probably be it. But that's just always a challenge because
Right.
it's just hard to get the full picture.
Right. That's true.
So
Do you feel like time is a huge component for them, for your clients? Because distance running, endurance training is a lot of time commitment, so it kind of bleeds into their relationships. and-
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
it's just like, just like exercise. Why people, I mean, the number one reason that Americans don't exercise or do these different things, time is number one.
That's why HomeFit comes to the house.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
That's why you created
Shameless
this
plug.
business.
Yeah, led me right into it. But that's true.
Exactly though, but I mean, time is the number one reason that we don't do all these things that we should or
Right.
would
Sure.
like
And
to
you're
do.
talking about running 70 miles.
I was about to
and
say.
running over 100 miles.
So 100, that's a commitment.
Well, talk about motivation. I mean,
To-
Birmingham
oof.
running community is awesome. And I have several friends, we call them the vampires of the group because they will run at like 4 a.m.
That's who I'm
to get it
dodging
in.
driving through Mountain Brook.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I was like, what's
we
that group
take
flashing?
over the
Just
Mountain
flashing?
Brook
I
Street.
was like, what's all these people flashing? And it's
Yeah.
like, it's like a whole tray of people just, they're strobing.
But I guess you have to.
It's like, but
Well,
like
you
when
go
they're
hang
gonna
out
get
at
it in.
5:30 a.m. Over at Mountain, you'll see them all pass, and they'll come
Well,
in.
we
they'll
went
get
to.
coffee.
They're done by 6.
Yeah.
They're at work by 7:30.
Yeah.
And
They
they're
work
driving
full. Yeah. It's awesome.
I went to O. Henry's.
Yeah.
In Brookwood.
Yeah. No, Homewood.
Homewood, yeah. Next to a track.
Homewood.
Track Shack. Yes.
And there was a big group of runners out there, and it was pretty early. And they were always sweating. It was like 6 a.m. or something.
Oh yeah, tons of
They made
groups
it-
meet there all over town. Like there's so many runners here. It's awesome. Like I have had, so Saturday mornings, we always meet at 6 a.m. and it's a Saturday. I mean, Friday nights, I think, in marathon training, that is the one night of the week where I really have to go to bed early.
Yeah.
So going back to the social life thing,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
isn't really,
Yeah.
Friday
it's really
night,
much
bedtime's
fun.
at 8. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's,
But that's okay because it's your priorities.
And I love what I do, and all of my running friends, like,
Yeah.
we're all in the same boat, and we
Some
all.
people like to go out on a Friday night with their friends in
Right.
the bar. You like to meet them at 6 a.m. on Saturday.
I do, exactly. And amazing, my husband, he's not a runner, but he's the same way.
Supportive, yeah.
We like to go to bed early,
Oh,
and
man.
we both get up early.
I'm going to bed around 8:30 tonight. It's
I
happening.
love it, yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
So
absolutely.
one more thing, and you're probably going to do your question thing that you did. Like
I could not remember what it was.
what the 2 questions were.
There were 2, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe you'll find your notes. My question for you, and again, I got to let you go because we're running over time. We're definitely running over time. Do you want to explain like your logo to people, or you want to keep that kind
Logo?
of
Oh,
how you're? Yeah, it's up to you. I love the story.
I do. I love my logo. And my husband created it. So Devin is super talented when it comes. You should see the like drawings and things that he does for the kids at school. He's working with first grade right now, and he's a big 6'4" former pro baseball player, and he works with kindergartners and first graders all day. Melt your heart.
Oh, man.
But so
What a
he
catch.
is the one that was absolutely going to figure out this logo. I was thinking about all these other things. I'm like, yeah, like we'll figure it out. It's fine. So it's I think on Instagram a lot of people have seen it, but I'm starting to post it more.
I'm gonna have to look it up.
Yeah, it's just FB and then RD for Fuel by Rachel Davis. Says Fuel by Rachel Davis underneath in little letters, but in the middle, so there's a runner like with her hands up, and so it's me. It's actually from
Like something like this.
It's that picture.
That's her logo. Is that picture?
It's that picture.
Hey.
But if you go to
I see it right here.
Yes,
Oh.
exactly. Yes. So it's awesome because that's a picture of me. It was the halfway point
FBRD.
at the Boston Marathon 2017. From that picture, I was just like loving life. It was awesome. But he actually made that, and he tried all these different fonts and all these different like. He's like, oh, we can swap out like say you're doing an event at a race, and say like CIM was.
Wow.
I think that was blue and yellow as well, and that's what Boston is. Or if there's ever something going on, like we can switch up the colors. And so he worked so hard on that, and he even for this last year, for Boston, he had shirts made with that runner, and so my Instagram's Dr. Davis Runs 26.2, and he had that and had them sent. My whole family, his family, my family, they were all wearing these shirts on race day, like watching the Boston Marathon. And it was so awesome.
That's awesome.
And I had no idea. And I had a shirt for me too, of course. So I'm like, yeah.
That's when you know you've made it.
great.
You're wearing a shirt of yourself.
That's right.
That's.
Thanks to my wonderful husband.
that's
I'm
right.
sure Jordan wears nothing but Jordans.
Yeah.
I would. I mean, shoot.
I don't know if you said I made it, but I've made it yet. But
I love that story.
But no,
It is a
yeah.
great
Thanks for
story.
sharing that.
It's
That is a
super
great
special,
story.
It's a big
Devin.
deal.
He is like.
He sounds like an awesome guy.
He's so supportive.
Yeah.
He loves traveling, like all of my races. He couldn't come to CIM because he was in student teaching. But
And he used to play. He used to be a professional baseball player.
Mhm.
Where,
He was with the White Sox.
That's right. Okay,
He actually played for the Barons
yeah.
a couple years ago, a few years ago.
And he teaches now.
Mhm.
It'd be interesting to see to ask him what, like, as far as exercise and what kind of things they do when you're a professional baseball player.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Lots
like-
of different things, and he's a pitcher, so
Yeah, so
very,
what they
very
do for that.
specific.
Yeah.
I think really interesting.
Yeah, and a lot of things that they can't do because
Yeah.
of his elbow,
Prehab.
shoulder. Yeah, so it's actually really interesting. But he
I'm
still
sure.
lifts a lot, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I signed him up for a 10K.
Oh,
So we're doing a
love
little
it.
running.
that's
yeah.
fun. Yeah, we're gonna do a walk run.
But he,
That would be a walk run.
He's like, that's his goal. He's like, I just don't want to walk.
Yeah.
But he can still run
oh,
a bit.
sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so he's great.
Well, it was something along the lines like.
I got it.
Okay, good.
All right, so there's something we're going to ask all of our guests that we have. Like I said, you're the second guest that we have. Hopefully, I'm sure we'll have a lot more. But we asked our first one, just the questions, the first thing that comes to your mind. It can be short, it doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be crazy. But what are the two of the biggest things that you've learned up into your life right this very moment.
Wow.
These could be words even, it could be whatever. 2 of the biggest things that you've learned that you would want people to know.
Well, actually, it's amazing because in the last 2 years, I've learned so much about myself and just my approach to life. Might sound a little cheesy, but for me, everything that we talked about, 1, priorities, like do the things that you enjoy, and my priority first, family. And right now I do love running, and this is the only time in my life where I can actually chase after something at that next level. So I'm going to keep doing that, and I want to do what I love. And obviously we all have to, work is work no matter what you do.
I agree.
It's never all
that saying of do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life is not true.
Right. I mean, work is work. Like you get busy, you get tired. There are other factors. But for me, the last year and a half or so has just been pretty life-changing in my approach to the future and how I want to prioritize things, because I've learned that if you really do prioritize those things and just figure out what it is that you want most.
So priorities is the key. Priorities is 1.
And then you say like learned about just anything that I've learned
your whole life.
Oh, yeah, just
say like there's some 10-year-old girl that's listening to this.
Uh-oh. You better set it on a whole other topic.
But say that there's some little girl listening.
Sure.
And she's only able to hear the last 2 minutes. So she knows she needs to set up her priorities. Priorities have got to be important. What's another thing that you
well, number one thing.
We're backtracking now.
Yeah, I know we are. Forget everyone else and what people think, and don't be ashamed of the things that you enjoy and love, and the things that you want to surround yourself with, and the people that you want to surround yourself with. Because nowadays, I think everything is comparison.
Sure.
And social media. I mean, we don't even realize that, I'm just scrolling. Well, you don't realize the things that are happening in your mind, in your brain at that time. So I think for especially young girls, and that's something I'm super passionate about, actually with like running and nutrition and really sending a positive message there. Don't, and it's so hard to say.
That's really cool that he brought up that age range.
Yeah, that's perfect.
That's like really, that's a whole other podcast we could do.
Well, that's just my gut feeling. It's kind of like that would be a good question.
And actually, I've had a few occasions where I've spoken with 10-year-old girls.
That's
and it's about nutrition, and it's the things that we talk about.
Be good with young.
It's amazing because a lot of the stuff that we talked about before, I know this is a long-winded answer, sorry.
I love
it. I'm gonna ask you again and let you simplify it. So be as long-winded as you want. I am. It's gonna be a clip. I'm gonna use it.
Well, the stuff, all those things that we've discussed with us as adults, just life in general, priorities, everything, the nutrition side, it's really incredible and scary how the same struggles that we have, the things that we think about, the society focused on weight loss and physique and all these things that aren't really the most important thing.
Sure.
10-year-old girls are already doing those things.
Sure.
And it's just fascinating to some of the answers that I get, because I like to always ask a bunch of questions up front and see where they are on nutrition and what they think. And for me, I'm most passionate about, I guess, debunking those things for them, because it's wrong. And I really hope that these younger generations can grow up and have like
from people like you who are doing the research and are going to put out the books.
No, what's right. Yeah, there's so much just garbage out there that's really my goal, is to convey the accurate information to people, and especially young kids. They're growing up as athletes, and they think all these extreme things have to happen for them to be perfect. It has to be perfect, but perfect doesn't exist, and that's unhealthy. It's an unhealthy relationship with yourself and with food.
Sure.
So
it's just what we're talking about with all of our trainers. Their biggest thing was, there's so much crap out there. People, well, then freaking do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in a position that you have a platform, your
if
phone.
you can provide.
Quality information that people like you that know it, I think you have a responsibility.
Yeah. And sometimes
To put
it's
it
not
out
going to be
there.
the most glamorous thing or the thing
No.
that's trending right now.
Yeah,
or
see
what
that- yeah,
it's
the-
the garbage stuff that's
The
trending.
The stupid videos and the chicks with their asses hanging out. Those are the ones that get all the like. But it's true.
Yeah.
But it
Right.
sells or whatever.
That's
but-
what people want
Yeah.
to see. They want to know how to be like that, or they want to see more of that, and it's sad. So I
Triggered.
just,
Triggered.
yeah, that's. I guess I'd give that speech to
It's-
to everyone.
All right, so just to backtrack real quick to the biggest things that you've learned in your life to this point: priorities, and then no matter what, do what you love.
Yeah, do what you love, and yeah, I guess that's the best way to sum that up.
Pretty damn good to me.
The
mean,
speech is a bit better than the do what you
Yeah,
love statement, but there's
Do
a
it.
lot more to it.
Right.
But that goes into, doing what you love and not being ashamed of shame and guilt and insecurity is what creates all of these issues. And if you really just,
Life has no place for that.
yeah,
I mean,
sadly it's in
Somehow
all
it's
of our lives.
weaseled into
Everywhere.
it, though.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Everywhere. So, yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, so where can our listeners find you at?
FuelbyRachelDavis.com,
Fuel by
Instagram, Dr. Davis runs 26.2. If you look up Fuel by Rachel Davis anywhere, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, it's all there.
I mean,
So,
when you're the leader, you're going to show up.
Yeah.
no, haven't made it yet. Remember,
You're setting it.
That was a really, really good
Whew, that was a good one.
that was great.
What a way to end the week.
Any saved rounds? Any saved rounds? Saved rounds, saved statements, anything else?
You don't have to hunt for anything else unless you we're just give me the
That's
opportunity.
it.
I think, I think I said it all. Yes,
That's
a good
why-
way to end Friday.
That's why we wanted to start a podcast.
Yep.
To
Yeah.
give people like you the opportunity to
I love it.
inform people.
Just do it.
Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah. Hope you guys have a great life. Thanks.
Yeah.
for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Cool.